And we welcome refugees from all over the world in response to humanitarian crisis. And so we've been supporting our clients who are here legally. All our clients are here legally, and we're just putting some information together so that people are well informed about what changes are happening for the government and proposed changes, and if there's any involvement with ICE agents, that our clients are more well informed so that they are safe and protected because, again, they're here legally and have not done anything wrong. Well, currently, the biggest changes are that the reception and placement program, which welcomes and settles refugees into the country, has been completely shut down. So we are not seeing any new arrivals since that executive order. It's on a 90-day period where they will review it. I'm not optimistic that they have any incentive to turn it back on right now. That's the biggest one, is the ability to welcome new arrivals. And that impacts a lot of people that were planning on coming to the country. Many were already en route when that decision was made, so their plane tickets were canceled. They were ready to go, and then they got it pulled away at the last minute. That's the biggest change. Currently, most of our other programs, because they come through the state funding, are still in operation. But we're always looking at what could potentially come to change over time. No, I think it's a conversation I think we need to keep having, because I think every time we do a presentation, with translation and things, people are only getting a percentage of the information. And then the other side is that things are always changing. So, the more conversations we have over time and updating when we learn new things is important. So I think it's a conversation just to be aware of. And again, for our clients who are here legally, we are just trying to make sure that they don't get caught up in racial profiling, or if they're in the wrong place at the wrong time and they get mistaken for someone that's here illegally or criminal activity, that they don't get caught up in that. So we're just trying to support people with information to navigate that. Well, I mean, anytime there's a like an executive order or a proposed change in law, it's still under current process, needs to go through courts and be approved, because you can't just change laws without the proper channels. So we can still advocate, we can still talk to our representatives, our politicians that are representing the people, and try to advocate for change, or to make sure that certain laws don't get passed. So I think having people really take a look at what's being proposed and why it's proposed is really critical to getting people to understand how things are impacted. So get involved, pay attention to what's happening. I know a lot of our clients sometimes follow the news in their home country, but don't follow the news here. And I think it's really important for them to start taking an active, invested interest in learning more about what is currently happening in our politics. No, I think right now there's a lot of misunderstanding between the current administration and what voters were kind of led to believe about immigrants. There's a lot of belief that everyone here is illegal, and everyone's here who is a criminal. They're tied to drug cartels, things like that. But when you look at the refugee resettlement process, all our clients were vetted several times, 3 times at least, by the FBI before they even came to this country. And for many clients, it takes years to get here. So this is not a quick process. This is not for most of our clients, they're here legally. And that's what we're trying to make sure that people understand the distinction between, it's not everything is that everyone here is illegal. That's not the case. So far, we haven't seen anybody, whether it's our staff, with the reception and placement program ending, we just transition people into the other programs that we serve, like refugee social services, which is a program designed to provide case management support for families up to 5 years after their first 90 days of arrival. So many families will come in and out of that program when they need services. Many will become self-sufficient and they sign out of the program and they never come back. Some will come back if they need special help with, like, maybe they want a new job, or they lost their job and they need help support finding a new one, things like that. Well, I mean, it's slowed. We don't right now. A big part of our program is welcoming refugees into the community. So we are seeing a freeze on that program. So right now there are no new arrivals, and that's impactful in the sense that we have U.S. ties. Those are people who are already here in the community expecting families to come. And we had some infrastructure in place, whether apartments or whatnot, to welcome them. And then that was sort of just pulled out from under them. So we have quite a few families that were expected to arrive, January and February, and now they are not. So it's more impactful for the families that were waiting for their loved ones to come, unfortunately. For now, as far as we know, a lot of the state benefits remain the same. So, things like Medicare, Medicaid access, food stamps, things like that are still eligible, and that hasn't changed. What's changed is that, for new arrivals, because there are none, that, that cash assistance for the first 90 days kind of launch into the community, that's all been shut down. So we're kind of like just waiting and advocating, as we see changes arise, what do we need to advocate for, and what do we want to try to, make sure that we don't lose anything for folks. I think, it's a community. We're trying to build a community. We want people to know it's a safe place. If you see something, say something, and support your fellow neighbors to just, carry on and get through. And, we don't know all the things that are changing, but like, stay connected, stay involved, advocate for things, and, just be a positive force in the community, which I think most people are. We're doing a great job with connecting folks to the community. So keep on keeping on, support each other. So one of the things we're working on with clients in the community, our clients, is to help them understand Know Your Rights. So we have these cards that we're giving out. It's got English on one side, and this particular one's in Pashto or Dari. But all different languages. And so it's basically know your rights in case you encounter an ICE agent, and knowing that you are here legally, you didn't do anything wrong. But sometimes, ICE agents will make mistakes, or they'll racially profile the wrong group. And so we're helping folks understand the difference between public and private space. So public space, you're out in the community. If you get stopped by an ICE agent, they have a little more right to ask you questions and detain you until you can, answer their questions. You do not have to answer certain questions. You have the right to remain silent. You can show them this card, which shows your amendment rights, Fourth and Fifth Amendment, on what to say. And then if you're approached in your home, so private space is different space. So if you're in your home, that's considered private space. They technically need a warrant issued by a state or federal court with a judge's signature on it. And that means before they can enter your home, the warrant needs to be issued within 14 days of that. So it's only good for 14 days. It has to have your name and your address on it, because they're looking for specific criminal activity. If they don't have that, they have no right to come in your home. So a lot of times ICE agents will use affidavit, administrative warrants, things like that. It will say Homeland Security on it. It's not issued by a court. It doesn't have a judge's signature on it, things like that. That is not a valid warrant. That is just a piece of paper, and they're hoping that you'll make the mistake of inviting them in. So consent is consent. If you give them consent to come into your home, that changes. Once they're in your home, then they have some rights to investigate. But you can ask to see a warrant, and you don't have to answer any questions. You can request an attorney if you're detained, things of that nature. So we've been going around trying to just educate our clients on their basic rights, and I think it's been helpful. I don't think a lot of our clients really know what's happening politically in this country at the moment. So this has been sort of an opportunity to connect with folks and kind of open some eyes to what's actually happening. It's a good idea to carry your documents with you at all times. That way, if you are questioned, you can show them that you're here legally. Certainly having a state ID is a good idea. If you don't have one, get one. If you have your work authorization, make sure it's up to date. If it's going to expire, work with your case managers to reapply. If you have any other documents that are maybe in lieu of actually having, so you're in process for a green card or other things, carry those letters with you just to have. It definitely shows you're on track. We originally thought carrying copies was better than the originals, but now we're hearing that the originals, carry your original copies with you at all times. So I think an important thing to remember is that for our clients, everyone's here legally. You didn't do anything wrong. If you are detained by ICE agents, don't run. Be compliant. Show them whatever documents you have. If you are detained, try to get as much, or your family or neighbors, try to get as much information as you can from the agents. Ask them for their names, their badge numbers, where they're going to take you, just so that there's a trail to help advocate to get you back out. Those are extreme cases. We're not expecting that, again, because everyone's here legally. So it's more of the case that if they make a mistake, can we connect you to some advocacy in that event? So hopefully, we'll continue to see, not a lot of ICE activity for our clients, but we just want you to be informed so that you can make the best decisions possible in a moment of crisis.